is up in GitHub, we can take advantage of one of the really nice features of GitHub, which is GitHub Pages, which allows us to host static HTML files on the GitHub server for free. And that's one of the advantages we had identified with why we'd want to use a static website for our blog, as opposed to something that is more complex, running a database, to host the data and pull from that as the page gets rendered and all that. So we have our full eleventy code here on GitHub. And what we want to do is some kind of process that's going to convert this code into those static files and have them hosted so we can hit a link from anywhere and see them. So the first thing we're going to do here in GitHub to get that set up is to create a new branch with a really special name, gh-pages. So this is, like I said, a special name, and it's telling GitHub, hey, we're going to use GitHub Pages. And I can confirm that by going to Settings, Pages, and I can see that GitHub's been like, yep, okay, you're going to use GitHub Pages. Here's your new URL for this website. Nothing's up there yet because we haven't set up the process to build things and deploy there, but you can see that this URL that is going to be for your site is going to be your GitHub username, .github.io / the name of whatever your repo is on GitHub. Okay, so there's a few things we need to do to add that process to publish to this page though. So if I go back to the code, I'm now just playing around with this code locally as opposed to using Glitch because I don't want to have to re-download the code every time I make a change on Glitch, right? First thing I'm going to do is install the dependencies so I have them running locally as well. So I'll do npm install, and that will build all the dependencies here into node modules and give me this new package -lock.json. And then we want to build this process, right? So every time we push our code to GitHub, it builds those static files and deploys them onto the gh-pages branch that we just made. So we can do that using something called GitHub Actions, which is another GitHub feature. And to set that up, we make a new folder called GitHub. And within that, it's .github to be clear. Within that, another new folder called workflows. And then I'm going to add a file and I'm going to call it build.yaml. So that's .yml. And let me just grab the code for this file. So this is just a set of instructions that's telling GitHub every time I push to the main branch, I want you to check out the code. I want you to install the dependencies, and I want you to build those static files from the eleventy system, and then finally deploy those files to GH Pages. Now, that's great, but in order for that generated static site files to actually work, there's two more changes we have to make. The first one is we have to tell eleventy that we're going to be using a path prefix. So this is our package.json. This is the script, the build script, that runs when we want to build those static files. And this is where we're going to add path prefix. And this is going to be the name of our repo in GitHub. So I've named mine book blog. Yours will probably be named something else. We're going to use single quotes around that instead of the double quotes, which are around this entire string. And then the final change that we're going to have to make has to do with links, for getting the links to be referenced correctly once it's deployed. So let me pull up a template file as an example. Let's look at the base one actually. So anytime that we have either a link using the link element or using the aref element, we're going to have to change how we get this instruction, how we get this pathway. So let me make some changes here to show you, like as an example, of how how this will look. So let's look at this link here to the style sheet. So it's pointing to this public folder, to style.css. We're still going to want to use that. That's good information. I'm going to cut that out. But we're going to have to make a change on how this is kind of plugged in this code. So instead of just having that string directly like that, we're going to clear it out. We're still going to have these double quotation marks. And then we're going to do 2 curly brackets, 2 opening, 2 closing. And then we'll do some single quotes. And that's where we'll have that original link. But then after that, we'll do this pipe operation and URL. So that's going to make the links actually be able to work once we've deployed to GitHub Pages. And we're going to have to do that for, like I said, all of them. So this one was originally just the root, and we'll do URL and close curly brackets. So I'm just doing these 2 as an example, but go through and do that to all the ones in your code. And then we'll do another commit, or add another commit. And then we will push that to the remote. And I need to update my branch name. I'm going to push that to the remote. Just gonna force it. And then this should be updated. Yep, there's a new code. And we see this little brown circle showing that a GitHub action has kicked off. So that's great. So we want this to build and hopefully deploy successfully. This is going to take maybe a few minutes to run through. So we'll let that run and check back in and see how it did. Can take a look at this. We see that the deploy worked. So if we go to this link, it's hosted on GitHub, and you can see the blog that we've built so far. Not every link I think is going to work because I haven't yet set up that change in the CSS that I was talking about. But I think one of these should work because we made the one change. At least the CSS is working because we made that change to that link. So make sure you make all those changes to all your links in your code and try to get it published onto your whatever your GitHub username.github.io domain. And let's see some live blogs.